Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video, I'm going through is meta Yang which is meta Chuan. So this yellow guy here, I'm going to make a showcase. For this video, I'll go through his resonance, I'll go through his skill kit, what he can do, what he can't do, and then at the end of the video, I'll put some showcase like how his affect skills in the PvP content. Cause he himself, if we look at his kit on patch note, if you saw my reaction, I'm kind of disappointed a little bit because I am a very PvE player instead of PvP one. So I'll compare him into like Sonica situation, like his original form of Yang, because his original form of himself is actually pretty good in PvE, but he's bad in PvP. Right, if you use Chuan, he's actually like R2, and then you'll be using him in like Fafnir, using him like in Falsetto Fantasy, but you're not gonna use him in PvP. But for meta Yang, it's a different situation. He himself is not going to use in PvE. He himself will be going to use in PvP. So it's a different situation. So his DPS is not gonna be high because he's defender. Right, he's not gonna be a very strong DPS output, and then his skill kit is all surrounding around how to make your Esper not getting one shot. Alright, so let's see. Though this is his in-game model, it's very Super Saiyan, and then his third eye here become like a hair with an eye, and then this is the dog. All his dog fur, Chuan stole it. He put it on his hair. That's why Chuan got so many hair now. Okay, then his weapon got a bit of bling bling effect. You can see his weapon here, he got some shiny effect, and then the dog here is no more fur. Right, and then it seems like he's bigger size than usual compared to his original model. So this is himself now, right? If we compare the original model is slightly smaller in size, like I mean in body, right? You see, this is like the size of it, and then if you compare to the yellow one, it seems like a lot bulkier. Okay, so then let's take a look. He have a defender leader buff, but this leader buff here only works in PvP, unlike Meta Liling. Meta Liling is universal attack leader buff because it can be used in PvP and also PvE. But meanwhile, Meta Chuan here is defense skilling, but only in PvP content. Okay, but it makes sense because you're not going to use him in PvE. I already tested him around in PvE content. He doesn't shine at all. Like if you compare with other Esper that doing the same role, like as a defender, there's a lot better one than him in PvE content. But in PvP, he is going to be very unique. Okay, so Divinite here. D3, damage taken in combat minus 20%. This is forever, and then it doesn't have a condition. And they also changed his Divinite skill already. Like I mentioned at the live stream yesterday, he put him attack skilling and HP skilling, which is totally wrong. Which they actually fixed it. Now it's a defense skilling plus 885 plus HP here as well. Damage taken in combat doesn't have any condition. This is very good because if you compare to Artiar, right? Artiar Divinity also have the same effect, but he have a condition which is HP have to be above 50%, then his damage taken reduced by 30%. He have a higher damage taken reduced, but he have a condition. Meanwhile, Chuan's one doesn't have a condition. It's just purely as long as you have him D3, then his damage taken will always reduce by 20%. Then this is his Divinite art. Oh, I really like his Divinite art. It's very cool. Okay, then let's see. S1, attack one enemy 2 times, and then the damage is 30%. And then up to 60%, so you can go up to 60%, but it didn't say per hit, so I don't know. It's like 60% is the total of 2 hit damage, or 60% is per hit damage. Then if enemy defense is lower than Chuan, then Screamer will perform a pursuit attack, which is another 50% of defense skilling. Then it will reduce enemy max HP limit is 50% of what you do, and then it will also heal Chuan. So the kit here, we can already tell that it's actually a very PvP oriented Esper, because in PvE they doesn't get affected by any of this enemy max HP limit reduction. It doesn't benefit in PvE a lot. It benefits more about in PvP because max HP cap in PvP is very important. So this S1 here, it is kind of meh because if we are looking him as a DPS role, then he is a meh. But if we are looking him in a PvP role, this is actually pretty good. He has self-healing, he has enemy max HP reduction. Max HP reduction is a very good skill against Esper that deals max HP like Artiar, like Lian, like Zihe. This kind of Esper really relies on max HP limit. Okay, then S3. S3 here, AoE damage per hit is 50% of the defense, so up to 100%. Then if Yun Chuan have accentuated, which is the buff from Lu Shang, because it's his teacher, so it's like teacher and student combo here, will do extra true damage, and the true damage is 50% of your defense, and then reduce enemy max HP, which is 100% of the true damage deal, reduce the max HP cap, it cannot resist, it cannot miss, and then inflict sear to all enemy for 1 turn. So the S3 here is also kind of meh compared to the original Yun Chuan. So this one here, right, is just pure damage, pure max HP reduction, and some true damage and some sear. Then if we compare to his original S3, right, his S3 here inflicts speed down, put himself immunity, grants everyone speed up. So this, if we compare in PvP situation, this one here is a lot better. The passive assist buff is a lot better. The S1 here is a lot better in PvE situation, but in PvP situation, this is actually not bad because true damage, because max HP reduction, AoE damage. But you can see it's purely damage. But so why, if S1 and S3 is kind of meh, why am I thinking he's actually very strong? He is strong in his passive. Yun Chuan gains 10 stack of immovable object at the start of combat. So the immovable object is this one. Enemy damage minus 4% per immovable object stack. So what it does is instantly at the start of the combat, you got 10 stack of this, right? So instantly enemy damage will reduce by 40% as long as you have 10 stack of immovable object. So how you reduce this immovable object? So every time the enemy take active turn, then the immovable object will reduce by 1. So if enemy take their active turn 10 times, then they can get rid of this immovable object. But if the enemy don't take any active turn, your immovable object will always maintain in the battle. So let's say you put Meta Yun Chuan and Tolan or maybe TA or Sienna in the team, and then you keep AP controlling them, you keep AP swapping them, AP down them, you keep not letting them taking their active turn, then you will always have this 40% enemy damage reduction in your team. This is very strong, and then every time you get hit, and because when you get hit when you have this buff, then you AoE heal everyone with your 5% of your HP. Then when all this stat is removed, then you're gonna cast one S3 for free. Alright, so why am I saying that this is gonna be a very strong buff? Can you regain the immovable object buff? No. Yes, no way for you to regain the buff. But this role here for Meta Yun Chuan is to counter Cliff team. So if we look at our global PvP, I believe that almost every top team in the PvP environment are using Moroyama team after Zihe appear, right? Because originally it's all Wu Yu. Then Zihe appear, then now it's all about Moroyama. Then Moroyama gameplay is not really that fun if you don't really have a Moroyama team, because if they outspeed you, their Moroyama is gonna one-shot you, they take bonus turn and one-shot you again, then basically your team is gone. Right, but with Yun Chuan appearance here, he will change this environment if you put him in a team like countering Moroyama, because at the start of the combat, enemy damage reduced by 40%. This is not a damage reduction. What is damage reduction? Damage reduction is something like this. Damage taken in combat minus 20%. Like Sakura's passive buff. Teammate take minus 25%. So this one is consider the damage taken you receive get reduced. So this kind of buff Moroyama can ignore. Because if we look at Moroyama, his S3 effect is he will ignore 85% of your it will ignore all your damage mitigation buff and your 85% of your defense. So you only have 15% of the your defense, and then you cannot reduce the damage that I do to you. Because the damage that you've taken have to 100% get all the damage taken. But for Meta Yun Chuan's passive buff is unique. It's so unique that it's actually reducing your damage deal before I take the damage. So for example, if you're gonna do 1000 damage and I have R0 here, so the 1000 damage you'll reduce by 40% first, which means you can only do 600 damage on me. Right, maybe you think like, oh, it's just 40%, it's not that impressive, right? But if you look at it, 40%, to be honest, 40% is already very strong. But the more broken thing is when he go until R2. You enhance the effect of immovable object, reducing enemy damage by 8%. And you have 10 stack of this, which means at the start of the combat, enemy damage will reduce by 80% until they starting to take their active turn. Every time they take the active turn, it will lower by 8%, which means 80%, then becomes 72%, then becomes 64%, then becomes 56%. But this 80% here will guarantee you at the start of the field turn, before enemy take a certain amount of active turn, your team won't get one shot or won't get very high damage by enemy. This effect here will affect to any kind of damage form, which I tested is including Iki's passive, including true damage, including normal damage, crit damage, and including Moriyama damage as well. Basically, any kind of damage form that is trying to do to your enemy will get reduced by this immovable object buff first, then only calculate your defense up or defense break or calculating your damage taken reduction, all these things. So Moriyama main point is about ignoring your damage mitigation, but this immovable object is not going to increase your damage mitigation. It's going to decrease the enemy damage deal. So it's a totally two separate things instead of one. So this is what makes Meta Chuan shine in PvP. His S1 and S3, to be honest, is pretty meh compared to the other Esper, but this passive here itself will change the overall review, I would think, on him. So R1 here increased extra more stats, and then R2 here increased the immovable object, which I think this is the highest value. Then R4 here at the start of his turn, if his HP is above 50%, then damage taken reduced by 25%. So if you are above 50%, you have 25% damage taken reduced, and then with a Divinate here 20%, which makes he himself will have a damage taken reduced by 45%. Then if he's lower than 50%, his healing received plus 100%, which scales with his Chuan dog healing. Then for R6 here, when all the stack is gone, he'll cast S3 for free, right? And then everyone get a bonus turn. So overall, in resonance wise, I think the most broken one is the R2. R4 is kinda like okay, not really too game changing. R6 here is pretty good, but I don't think it's like a must need as well. I think the best value for Meta Chuan is gonna be R2. So for those pass buyer, if you're planning to buy Meta Chuan pass, you are actually achievable for R2. If you're lucky enough and you clear everything, you're achievable for R2. So it might be a very good thing for you guys who are planning to get Meta Yangjian, because this R2 effect here will be very strong. You can instantly reduce enemy damage by 80%. Okay, then let's take a look at some showcase. Okay, let's take this example. So they buff up. Look at Farah's damage on my Clara. 1,300 something, and then 3,500 something. Then Anna is 36k. Now let me put in my Meta Chuan. You can see the damage difference is actually pretty massive. Cause any kind of damage will get reduced by 40% here is very big. Alright, so they're gonna buff up first. Then Farah is gonna do damage to my Clara now. S3 AoE damage. See, now the crit here only does 2,000 something instead of 3,000 something. Then Anna's damage from 36k reduced to 24k, and this is R0. So if you make it to R2, it will even reduce even more damage as well. So all this crit damage here will actually get reduced. Non-crit damage here will also get reduced, including true damage from Jinchu as well. So let me see if I can find a Jinchu for you. Okay, so just now I did a few more fight, and then cause I feel like it's weird, it didn't reduce the damage, right? So I did a few more fight, and I think this is the most secure showcase here. So now true damage won't get affected by Chuan's passive. Alright, so let's hear everything here. They put up all the debuff first, so but I want to make it more accurate, so I put Sally here to cure it. And then now Jinchu buff up himself, Chu Yao passive damage, and then now Jinchu S3 damage on my Esper here is dealing 15k 634 with a Chuan here. Right, but previous live stream it will reduce, but now it didn't reduce, because now if we test this part here, now I take out Meta Chuan, everything here is the same. They are buffing up, putting debuff, then my Sally will cleanse it, do something, and then Jinchu take his turn. Give me a few seconds here. Okay, Jinchu buff up, then why did I quit the battle? Okay, never mind. Okay, so now I'll show you one time here without it. Okay, now I cleanse it, then I just do some simply damage. Okay, Jinchu buff up, Chu Yao slap, then Jinchu slash. It will do still the same 15k 634. See, exact same damage. So I think they fixed it, because previous live stream when I test, true damage will actually get affected, but it seems now true damage will not get affected. So true damage is safe from it. True damage is still remain how unique true damage is, which is can't affected by any kind of damage reduction or damage increase, all those stuff. But yeah, basically that's it for this video. I don't know if they're gonna change anything else more as well, but this is something new. They did change, and this is test server, so everything have to wait until they release until global server. But at least for now, other than true damage, so far I've tested, other than true damage, any kind of damage will get affected by Chuan's passive. Yeah, so feel free to comment down what you guys think about Chuan's kit, and feel free to and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is JNMP, Yakishibatils, Kemi, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter and patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Code Wilderness, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwatts, Rimu, Chani, Von Hexa, Antonio Winterspoon, Marilyn Williams, Uncle Chat, Eric Mendes, Ian Cragren, Riku Fred X Iris, Calamity, Jordan Alons, Rocco Standions, thank you so much for your support. And that's not all. Also special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest tag. So special thanks to Ziggy, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Johnny. Thank you so much for your support. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.